Your future starts now. This is your journey. This is your time. Getting you industry ready.
Welcome to this explainer. You know, every successful brokerage understands that people are its absolute greatest investment. Finding the right employee, well, that's important. But helping that employee become successful, that's even more important. Today, we're taking a highly consultative journey into building long-term success in the complex, highly regulated South African financial services industry. If you're a brokerage owner, an HR manager, a key individual, or really anyone making recruitment decisions, you know that building true long-term value doesn't happen by accident. So today we're exploring the strategic framework developed by Fit and Compliant Consulting, and we'll see how they turn standard recruitment into a powerful engine for professional development.
Okay, let's dive into this because there's a fundamental paradigm shift we really need to talk about. Traditional recruitment often operates as a simple, one-off transaction. It asks a pretty short-sighted question: who can start tomorrow? It's literally just about putting bodies in seats and filling immediate vacancies. But Fit and Compliant Consulting flips this entirely. They ask, who can become a successful professional within your organization? It's the difference between merely filling an empty desk and strategically building a career. They operate not just as a recruitment agency, but as a true compliance coordination and professional development partner. To understand how they achieve this, we're going to follow a structured approach today. We'll cover 1. Beyond transactional recruitment, 2. Documented standard operations, 3. The 5-group talent matrix, 4. 6-month candidate developments, and finally, protecting your investment.
So let's start with Section 1, Beyond Transactional Recruitment, a True Partnership.
The core pillars of this framework are straightforward but powerful: guided, coordinated, and compliant. Fit and Compliant acts as a critical link between the South African insurance industry and talented professionals. And their role extends way past just introducing a candidate to an employer. For busy executives like you, this offers a beautifully streamlined solution: a fully managed, hands-off recruitment pipeline. Their promise is essentially, we do everything, you approve. They coordinate that entire journey between recruitment, compliance, education, and long-term career success.
There's a key quote from their strategy framework that summarizes this perfectly. It goes, "Successful recruitment is not just a placement. It is the sourcing, screening, compliance alignment, and sustained development of a professional who contributes to long-term brokerage growth." I mean, human capital is a brokerage's greatest investment, right? If you just recruit someone, sign the contract, and walk away, you're leaving that investment entirely unprotected. Moving right along to Section 2, Documented Standard Operations, Engine of Consistency. And this brilliantly illustrates how every single recruitment campaign follows documented standard operating procedures to ensure absolute consistency. Step 1 is attraction, marketing, and strict POPIA-compliant registration. Step 2 moves right into rigorous FAI screening and compliance evaluation. Step 3, that's structured interview coordination, where they can even provide recorded highlights of initial interviews just to save you time. And finally, Step 4 is the actual placement and onboarding. Every single stage is documented, measured, and quality controlled.
So, what actually lands on the brokerage director's desk? It's what they call the Candidate Ready Recruiter Pack. You aren't sorting through a pile of messy CVs. You receive a complete, pristine file containing screened background checks, verified qualifications, signed POPIA consents, and crucially, a completed compliance profile aligned to FSCA fit and proper requirements. Absolutely no candidate is submitted without strict Data First Appointment or DOFA checks, and RE5 status verifications were applicable. You literally get a candidate who is fully signed off and ready to commence employment the moment you approve.
Next up is Section 3, the 5-group talent matrix, strategic classification. Now, what's really interesting about this approach is how it tackles talent scarcity. We all know finding perfectly compliant candidates right off the bat is incredibly difficult. So rather than discarding great potential talent just because of minor compliance gaps, Fit and Compliant classifies them into readiness groups. This is a highly strategic succession tool that lets you build both immediate capacity and long-term future talent pipelines. Let's break these groups down. Group 1 represents your urgent placements. These are candidates who are fully fit and proper ready. They've got their full RE, class of business, and NQF qualifications completely finished. The benefit here is obvious, for sure. Zero training lag and immediate productivity for the brokerage. They are ready to hit the ground running on day one. Then we have Group 2, categorized as medium priority. Now, these candidates have their RE completed and possess solid insurance experience, but they might be partially qualified, maybe needing some CPD or NQF alignment. For you, this means you get access to quality, experienced talent immediately, while Fit and Compliant takes on the entire administrative burden of tracking and managing those specific qualification gaps. Group 3 is all about your talent pipeline. These are candidates with really high entry-level potential who are class of business and RE complete, but they have limited credits. Instead of just overlooking them, Fit and Compliant actually facilitates their registration with accredited providers for FAS credits. So you secure highly motivated talent, and their educational pathway is actively managed in the background. Moving to Group 4, the focus here is strictly on long-term growth. These candidates have a strong interest in the industry but limited compliance, so they're placed on a structured development plan that's monitored by the agency. They move sequentially from RE5 prep to COB training and finally to NQF credits. This guarantees they achieve a fit and proper trajectory while they are actively working within your organization. Finally, we have Group 5, new entrants and future professionals. These are fresh, highly motivated minds, usually with a matric or NQF4, but zero compliance. They are essentially a blank canvas for your company culture. Fit and Compliant commits to taking them on a 6-month structured journey, from RE5 all the way to NQF commencement. This is exactly how you build loyal, tailor-made professionals for your brokerage's long-term succession.
Which brings us to Section 4, 6-month candidate development, sustained support.
Let's see how this builds chronologically, because placement is merely day one of the real journey. This mandatory post-placement support program is a game changer. On day one, the placement is made and the contract is signed. But for those critical first 90 days, Fit and Compliant conducts professional integration check-ins with both the candidate and the brokerage. Then, throughout months 1 to 6, they are actively coordinating RE, CPD, and NQF training pathways. By month 6, the service level agreement concludes, with your new candidate totally set up for sustained professional success. It's important to really understand what this 6-month support actually entails. We're talking about career path guidance, professional mentoring, and monthly compliance pulse checks. Fit and Compliant is very clear about this. Their role is not to replace your HR function. Instead, they complement it. They take on that heavy administrative burden of tracking compliance milestones, coordinating with accredited education providers, and basically keeping the new employee totally focused on their actual job and professional growth. And that leads us to our final section, Section 5, protecting your recruitment investment, the ultimate ROI. Look, we all know the reality of the business world. Recruitment is expensive, but the high cost of replacing failed hires, that is staggeringly worse. It drains resources, it kills morale, and it stops momentum dead in its tracks. Compare that to the high value of structured professional development and retention. By adopting this 6-month development mindset, you aren't just paying a placement fee, you're instituting a crucial financial safeguard that actively protects your new hire from failing out of the industry. So the crucial point is this. Why does this framework win? Well, it wins because of the massive institutional benefits to your bottom line. By utilizing these structured pathways and the talent matrix, brokerages can identify future leadership early on. It drastically reduces the headaches of talent scarcity because you're developing professionals rather than waiting for mythical perfect candidates to just appear. Plus, strategically, it aligns perfectly with employment equity goals, driving real diversity through supported structured entry into the financial sector. Which leaves us with one final, vital question to ask yourselves as decision makers. Take a hard look at your current strategy. Are you just filling immediate vacancies, playing the short game, or are you actively building sustainable insurance teams prepared for the future? Remember, a candidate who isn't fully compliant today might just be your strongest leader tomorrow, provided they have the right coordination and support. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope this deep dive into strategic recruitment has given you the framework to rethink your approach and build incredible long-term success. Keep learning, keep building, and we'll see you next time.